Record room software.
So, a lovely day in the hot tub, isn't it?
A few moments later.
Anyways, let me get out of here. Blah. Anyways, welcome back to the MCG StarCraft development world. It's a big world with a lot of wastefulness and a lot of broken things. For example, I was trying out a little thing for a disaster for the air compressor, but the end result is a broken one. So that is something I put off. And this wasn't a failure with the check for range. As you can see, it's off. So yeah, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. But in the end, I finally got there. And I started to jump from joy because I finally made a system that allows you to make your own design spaceships whenever you want in which design you want. However, there are rules that come with it. So here I have written down some topics that we can discuss today. As well as that I have some chests ready and we're gonna build and launch a rocket ourselves. So let's take a look at this new and nice rocket point system update. Or better to say, player rocket update. I think that's the better thing. And also the disaster update gets an improvement as well in this version. Because it includes 3 new disasters that can come across your path when using the system, if enabled by the server administrator that's running the plugin, of course. So let's first give it a go at looking what are the requirements for using, this launch pad and the rocket itself, of course. You need the requirements, and the launchpad is one thing. And then you have the chest, the sign, that you also need. The sign is by default an oak sign, and the chest is a normal chest. It cannot be changed, chest, of course. However, the sign can be changed from material type. For example, they can use this new type of signs if they wanted to. Sorry for the little stutter. My computer is not handling my shaders at this moment very well. I have the feeling something is on the background annoying me a lot. Anyways, this is the sign how it's gonna look when you start using it. So I'm gonna copy that one for sure for now. Anyways, those coordinates are pointing to the center block, this block over here. You can do it in 2 ways. Either by looking at it, pressing F3, and you have a block, targeted block on the right side of the screen. Not everybody has that. Keep it in mind. It's a feature I believe that comes in Optifine. I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, the targeted block is an option. As you can see here, the 2470154 in the minus is the one that we just copied from the other sign. So that's a thing. You can also do it manually by standing in the block and looking at the left at your block coordinates. 2470154 in the minus. So the launchpad didn't change a thing. It's the same as it was before. Excuse me for the lag. I really need to fix that one later on. Anyways, this the rocket can now be built using the oak sign, a normal chest, not a double, a single chest, and the blocks that are allowed. By default, these are the blocks that are allowed to be used, to be built with. So let's make a diamond and glass rocket, shall we? These are all the blocks by default that are allowed. This can be changed by the server administrators running the server, so keep that in mind. Taking a look at this one. These are the whitelisted blocks that are ignored for the score. They can be used in your build, however, they will not be taken in consideration for any points. So in this case, when you build something with these blocks, they can be built onto the launch pad, however, they are not calculated as the rocket itself. So you can use it, for example, for a nice little entrance towards your rocket, or anything like it. So let's take a look. when standing on here, I was popular, by the way, if you hear the bleep sounds. Anyways, let's give it a go. I always place my chest at the bottom. I really like my chest to be at the bottom. And I want to have some feet for the basic rocket. And then like this, I think is a nice one. Then I go over onto here. A little bit of glass. But I need to get out of here and in here. So let me just keep it open for now. And then close it off with a little roof and an antenna on it. The max size a rocket can be is from the build pad up 16 blocks. 15 to 16 blocks depending on where you're starting to build. Keep in mind that's the max size. I'm not going to increase it. I'm not going to decrease it. If I increase the size of the height of the rocket, for example, that means that another chunk needs to be loaded on top of this one. So in this case, it measures 16 by 16, basically build pad size, and then 16 up into the sky. However, each layer is 16 by 16 blocks, which means in total a lot of blocks get scanned, and it needs to do that for every layer. And if I double the size or increase the size at all, it increases the load onto the server. I might be able to add an option to change that later on, but for now 16 is the limit. I will see what happens in the end of the storyline. Anyways, when you're done making your rocket, you can place a sign down. And when there is a sign and there is a chest down below, you can click the sign. And I can see that I have made a mistake. Yeah, it's 154, not 153. So let's do it again. Give me a new sign, by the way. I miswrote it. No. Anyways, it's between rockets, because we are in a rocket. Then the coordinates itself. So 24, 70, and 154. This should be it. This was the coordinate that we had in our screen last time. And when I right click it, you can see scan completed with a score of 580 and a base fuel usage of 5. This is where the fuel usage comes in. The rocket itself has a weight. It is a certain amount of weight, and the blocks give points depending on the weight, the function, and the strength. So I balance it a little bit out. So in the max amount of points you can use for your ship is 1000. And the minimum required to launch at all is 100. So that you do not make a building with like 2 blocks. This can also be changed and altered by the administrators, by the way. Anyways, these limits are there for a reason. Because everything works on it. So let's just take a look. It just gave me a score and a base fuel usage. The points system is based on a minimum and maximum, like I said. And the fuel usage that's coming on top of the destination fuel usage is being calculated on how heavy the ship is. So the more score you have, the better the rocket is against disasters, but also has a chance in itself to use more fuel to get to your destination. That's something you need to be aware of. If you make a very large, huge rocket, it's very cool looking and it works awesome. However, fuel usage goes up. There might be a system in the future that you need a certain score to get to the certain distance or planet, but that's something I want to research first before I'm gonna do something like that. However, this new system allows every player to build whatever they like as long as they have a chest and a sign into the thing. And the chest doesn't have to be in the middle. The sign even. You do not have it. You do not need it to be in the middle. You can make, for example, the sign over here on the leg and the chest on the other side if you want to. You can do it whatever you want as long as it's within the range of the 16 by 16 by 16 area. So those things are very handy, but they also offer you a whitelist, so you cannot use every block, and same thing for the ignored blocks. There are also some new disasters as well. The explosion in air, the fuel leak, and the no pod. Well, how do I say it shortly? Normally we had the disaster with the rocket that if you launch there is a certain amount of chance that the ship explodes on launch. And this is now also integrated, but based on points. So you need at least so many points, but the max amount of points is so many for this event to occur. Also, this can be changed by the server administrator and is not written down yet how much points for each, so I cannot tell you it right now. However, that's the base disaster that we all know. However, there's a new one, and that's basically that you launch, but midway in the air, the rocket fails, explodes, and you fall down. Basically, you lost your rocket and fell to the ground, possibly to your death, depending on how high you are. That's a chance, a very slim chance, but the chance is there, unless disabled by the owner, of course. Then you have the no pod problem. If you make a rocket with a very low point value, there is a chance that your escape pod, or basically the pod that you get into on the other world when you get there, is not being generated. It fails. Basically, the system in your rocket that should have the escape pod was left behind on Earth. Sadly, misunderstanding, or something broke off, or anything like it. It's a little bit of event-based. And the last one we have is the fuel leak. This means your rocket is standing here, you want to launch, and as soon as you launch, you get the message there is a fuel leak, and you didn't launch. Instead, you lost the fuel that was required for this flight, but the rocket is still there. The only thing you need to do then is refuel it and try it again. So those 3 new events are added, and based on a point value and a chance value together. So if you are within the range of points for your rocket that allows this event for happening, then it also checks if the chance is in your favor or not. It's as simple as it is. With testing, I had it like 4 times in a row, and I really annoyed it. So yeah, that was quite annoying. Let me just replace this chest for a full one. See, now it's full with canisters. One thing, I just got a lot of complaints about people saying, why can I not stack these? Well, because if we start to stack these, then you are gonna lose a lot as soon as you launch. And I will explain it right now. If you launch your rocket and you use, for example, 10 fuel, and your chest is full over here, then you lose almost 2 rows full of fuel. They will be dropped onto the ground where you launch from. But because you are launched to another location, that's where it, that's where it ends up in. So I recommend filling only the fuel that is really required, and you can watch it before you launch. So in this case, I've put fuel in, and when I click assign now, I directly get the pre-launch menu, including the fuel that I have in the chest. Together with that, we can see the fuel cost, but it's been increased with the base fuel usage of my ship, which was in my case 5. So normally it was 1 fuel to go to space, but now it's 6 because my ship is so heavy that it requires 5 extra fuel to launch off the surface. This also adds up to all other destinations, and if you go to another galaxy, it multiplies this, of course, like it did before. So, for example, the multiplier can be set for other galaxy by the server owner. For example, you need to pay half more fuel to get to the other galaxy itself. And that's what happens. Then it multiplies basically locations, including the location where you warp from. So that's how it all works. However, there's one thing to note. As soon as a distance is so big that it requires more than 27 fuel, then the server owner is doing something wrong. Why? The rocket has a certain size limit, so you can build it with lightweight blocks and as big as you want it to, or you can build it as small as you want with heavy blocks. However, if you make something extremely huge with very heavy blocks and also choose the furthest destination in a totally different galaxy, and you need to use, for example, 36 or 45 fuel in one go, it's impossible. As simple as it is. I'm still researching if I'm gonna implement stacks of fuel into the tank. However, it's not very realistic, is it? To make a rocket that has a chest with fuel in it, like a car has its own fuel tank, and then you're gonna fill it with more than fits in the fuel tank. That's not very realistic, is it? So I'm trying to do my best to keep it as realistic as possible while still maintaining the freedom that we have with the futuristic looks and functionality of this plugin. So in this case, I can click it on and click to space. And as you can see, I launched and you saw the other ones drop down. There's one thing that you do need to note. I just didn't get any disaster at the moment, but it keeps on saying that the score and the fuel usage in the chat. If you click the sign, it does it whatever you want. However, if you do not put fuel into the chest, it will showcase first without a warning. And if there is already a score made and you click it, it shows the warning with the message that you need to put fuel in. So it's really a bit reminding. But this is the pod I was talking about. That if the disaster goes wrong, this pod is not generated and you fall down. You keep on falling and, well, there is a minor chance that you can land on a block or star here. And if you have the rocket suit, the suit upgraded with a jetpack, you can just fly towards a planet or something. I really recommend doing that before going to space itself. Because as you can see, there are a lot of planets to land on, but there is no solid ground. The Poi generation is also a little bit being improved. There are little slight changes to how it generates. Because I had to write the scanning system for my rocket, and I found a little bit of a loophole in one of the calculation things. It's fixed, but it didn't change a lot to the Poi generation speed. However, some people with very low performance might see a little bit of an improvement, but I cannot fully support that claim. So I do not have a very weak computer, I have a very fast one, so I cannot tell for sure. However, this world is just being generated as I started the server. And as you can see, I'm flying forward, and with a little bit of stuttering sometimes, it generates a lot of POIs very quickly in a dark environment, and in my case with shaders on. So if it generates fast with me, then I don't think it's a very, very laggy. I'm trying to do my best. There are some improvements in the bucket or spigot or paper file. I didn't know which file it was before. But anyway, some server software offer you to set, for example, a range, a max amount of range that people can see around them. And some plugins even offer that per world solution. So you need to take a look at how to lower it down. Currently, I've set my server to endless range as well as my client to a very high range. But it only generates when I'm standing still here, so yeah, that's that. So those are the changes that I have just made into the StarCraft plugin. The update is going to be released very soon, today or tomorrow, on Spigot, and in about a week, I think it will be on MC Market as well. That's a very important announcement. The MCG plugins are now also available on MC Market itself. One thing, I do get some complaints by people that they say, do not ever go to MC Market. However, the statements they make is very legit. That's something for sure. However, they complain that they ban too easily. I partly agree, I think. Sometimes they are a little bit screw and they can't look between their fingers if they see a problem. However, currently I found all the bans that I found from people that got banned got banned for a reason, like leaking plugins, stealing plugins, writing offensive language, don't having any respect for the staff there, or abusing the system they are offering on the MC Market. And I'm not using their forums, I'm not using their chat services, I'm purely use it to offer extra possibilities for people to get my plugin. For example, my MCG Streamer GUI was rejected by Spigot because Spigot has a new way of looking at plugins. To be short, Spigot forces me to write my code exactly as they want it to be. And I think that every developer should have its own signature on how they write their plugins. I think they only need to look at if it works, if it's as promised, and if it's not a scam or any type of virus or something. And instead they are currently looking at how people write code and complain, and they say we want a high quality standard on Spigot. I do agree that the quality standard is very good. However, you cannot force people to write that you want us to write. And with you, I mean the Spigot resource team. So that's a thing. That's an opinion difference, I think. I do agree on them checking the resources. That MC Market does exactly the same, but they keep it at, is it a scam? Does it do what it's promised? Does it contain any forced OP stuff or any leaks or anything like it? And then if it passes all their checks, I get approved. And it got approved. MCG Streamer GUI is now available on MC Market as well. MCG Minestore as well. And I'm currently slowly adding more resources. But every resource needs an approval time, of course. And when it's approved, it's there. So, I'm done talking. I thank you all for watching, and hopefully I will see you on the next episode when I have more features to release or more changes. If you have any suggestions about this MCG StarCraft plugin, let me know in the Discord server. You can find the link for Discord on the StarCraft website as well as on all the product pages. And otherwise, you can find it with my profile on my channel on YouTube as well. So, enough talking. Have fun. Good luck.